Buffalo Bills that did not practice on Thursday. Some familiar names on the injury report. Ed Oliver dealing with that ankle still. He's out of a boot, so that's good news. Matt Milano, he's dealing with that pectoral injury. Neither of those two guys are likely to play this upcoming week. Spencer Brown is really the questionable name to know here on the Bills injury report. He's dealing with a calf injury and also did not practice on Thursday. Keontae Jenkins on the practice squad. He didn't practice with a leg injury that he sustained in Week 3 against the Miami Dolphins. Before we dive a little bit into where the Bills go as a result of these injuries and if and when these guys cannot play this Sunday, I got to ask you guys a question first. As Josh Allen spoke to the media, and he actually listed his top 3 wings in Buffalo. He said that Barbill, obviously in East Aurora, is one of the top ones. It's his favorite. And he also gave shout-outs to Wing Nuts and another one as well. So I'm asking you guys, where are the best wings in Buffalo served? Let me know down in the comments section. My answer, I'll let you know at the end of today's show. Alrighty, man, let's talk about these injuries. You're watching the Bills Breakdown by Chat Sports, and I am your host, Tyler Smith. The Bills, they're facing some injuries early on in this season. Not only some guys on injured reserve, they got some guys suspended as well, but early on in the season, a couple of their defensive veterans have gone out with multi-week injuries at this point. Ed Oliver and Matt Milano are not likely to suit up once again in Week 4 against the Saints. And I'm not saying that that's the end-all, be-all for Buffalo. They're going to lose this game because these two guys are out. We've actually seen the Bills without both of these two players, not only in Miami, in the Miami game last week, but also in the second half of the Jets game. Milano played, I think, 1 snap in the second half and then had to come out. And the Bills went with Dorian Williams for the rest of that second half, and a little bit of Joe Andreessen as well. So we've seen Buffalo without these two guys, but it's an interesting situation on the interior of that defensive line because the Bills have brought up in relief of Ed Oliver the past 2 weeks defensive tackle Zion Logue. But if you guys didn't know the rules of the league here with how practice squads work, you can only get 3 call-ups from the practice squad to the active roster per season. So Zion Logue here only has 1 more call-up for the Buffalo Bills. And some people on Twitter were speculating as to whether or not the Bills would hold him off potentially for a Week 5 matchup against the New England Patriots, a team that has a little bit more success rushing the football than a team like New Orleans does because Logue was being 6'5", 310 pounds, that nice one-tech there in the middle, so clogging up and being a really good run defender, that would be more valuable in a also divisional game against the New England Patriots in Week 5 in primetime. So potentially could sit Logue here and pull up a guy who Bills fans are very familiar with in Jordan Phillips. Could this be his season debut? Not necessarily a one-tech type of player here, but it's a guy who knows the system well, and if they're really thinking matchup-wise, it would probably make a little bit more sense to put in Phillips here and work in Logue for the Week 5 matchup against New England. Now, shifting a little bit over to the linebackers here, I wanted to talk about the kind of snap count and the reinforcements behind Matt Milano that we've seen so far. Obviously, Bernard is going to be wearing the green dot. He's going to play basically all of your defensive snaps there, all 61 against Miami he recorded in Week 3. Dorian Williams played 46 of the opposite off-ball linebacker defensive snaps, and then Shaq Thompson mixed in 21 as well. A couple of Bills' different 3 linebacker packages that they threw in there with Thompson. And honestly, in those 21 snaps, Thompson made a good number of plays, a couple of TFLs for him. I thought that was really, really good to see the veteran who was injured, and that was his season debut this year, kind of shaking off all the rust that he needed to. As far as what these guys have matchup-wise on their hands, though, there are a couple of players that we need to watch out for. Juwan Johnson's had a really, really good start to the season, and Bernard and a couple other guys, Dorian Williams included, are going to be tasked at least a couple of times with guarding Juwan Johnson. And I'll reference the safeties as well, as they'll have this assignment too. They got to cover this guy, man. 19 grabs already, 173 yards, 1 touchdown for a young quarterback, an inexperienced quarterback, and a not-so-great quarterback like Spencer Rattler. Tight end and running back are 2 positions that they like to check it down to and feel like are there safer options on the offense. So the Bills' linebacker core, their safety room, they got to be eyes to Juwan Johnson at all times. And you can't forget about Alvin Kamara either. Like especially as a receiver. He hasn't gotten a ton of volume there in that department so far this season, but we know how big of a threat he can be once he gets the ball in his hands on a check down, a swing pass, a screen. Historically, the Saints have involved him in so many different ways. This season so far with Kellen Moore as a new head coach, not so much, but he did have 6 targets and 6 grabs in Week 2. Definitely have to watch out for Kamara. Keep him in front. More in just a moment. First, though, I got to tell you guys, we will be live. As a reminder, we will be live for a Bills versus Saints watch party here on the channel, 12:30 Eastern time on Sunday. We'll have a pregame tailgate. We'll give you guys live scoreboard, play-by-play, highlight stats, analysis, a couple of drinks on hand. We'll make it a party and so much more. So join us here at the channel. Subscribe, turn your notifications on so you know exactly when we go live for Bills Saints in Week 4. Alrighty, moving over here to the Spencer Brown injury, which really is the one that is the most consequential for Buffalo this week, right? We've seen the reinforcements already in relief of Ed Oliver and Matt Milano. Spencer Brown, though, shout out Banged Up Bills for trying to kind of getting a pinpoint of when exactly this injury went down. He said it appears his left calf gets kicked with about 5 minutes left in the first quarter. He didn't favor it until the second drive, and he never came out of the game. Played 100% of the snaps in Week 3. Also noted that he didn't have a sleeve on the right leg today, as you see him crouching down there next to Josh and Dalton Kincaid in the right photo there. And it helps that this is his inside leg. This is his left calf that's injured here when he's playing the right tackle spot. But at the end of the day, it is likely that Brown's not going to play here. Calf injuries are very, very precarious, and you want to take caution with them. And usually they take you out for about a week. Now, Matt Perino had this from One Bills Live that he noted. Spencer Brown joined that show yesterday, and he said that the calf injury popped up in the first drive against the Dolphins. And then he said they joked that he spent the long weekend lying in his bed, basically just resting up. And he said he was asked about sitting out of practice today, and he said, got a little weird on me last game, but should be good. And I think the Bills are going to proceed with caution here, because not only do you not want to risk injury, re-injury, re-aggravation, things get crazy with calves. It can end up, going down to that big A word at the bottom of your leg there. But they also are probably pretty confident in the people that they have behind Spencer Brown here. Ryan Vandemark has played a lot of snaps for the Buffalo Bills over the last couple of seasons, man. And you know what? I think that from what I've heard from him speaking to the media and just the way that the Bills coaching staff talks about Ryan Vandemark, I'm confident that they can roll him out and there won't be much of a beat skipped with this offensive line, which that's one of the best in the NFL this week. So, I'm confident in Ryan Vandemark's abilities here to fill in for Spencer Brown if that needs to go down, because we've seen him do it, man. I mean, 199 snaps back in 2024. Look, the PFF grades, they aren't the end-all, be-all, but, this is a guy who we know can protect Josh Allen. We know likes to be prepared to be in these situations because he is the Bills' swing tackle. If Dawkins has to miss a game, if Spencer Brown has to miss a game, he will be the one that is called upon. And I mean, dating back to 2023, he was an above-average run blocker, and so far in the 8 snaps he's been asked to play so far this season, he's been fine, like 74.0 pass block rate. I know it's a small sample size, but this, for being a backup tackle, this is definitely one of the better ones that you could find around the National Football League. And to be fair, the rest of the offensive line trickles down to what Ryan Vandemark has going on as well. He said to the media, you'll never really know when you're going to get out there, and he said it's just being prepared each week like a starter. So I'm pretty confident here in the offensive line's ability to not really get much pressure on Josh Allen. Doesn't look like Chase Young is going to play for the New Orleans Saints here, so they're down a pass rusher. I don't really like it. It's guys, I'm serious. It's tough to create content this week because it seems like a really, really easy and comfortable coasting Bills victory. With that being said, what's your confidence level in the offensive line in Week 4? Scale for me down in the comments, 1 to 100. 1 meaning no confidence at all, 100 meaning got the most confidence in the world. Let me know what you think. Speaking on AJ Epinesa here, because he was a limited participant in Wednesday and Thursday's practice, dealing with a pectoral injury, but not really much information on that so far. It would hurt, though, with Bills already having some injuries on the front 7 to be missing AJ Epinesa, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. He's been limited, and there's no indication from the coaching staff that he's going to miss this week whatsoever. Next up, we're getting a positive injury update. This one about Maxwell Hairston, who practiced once again, and he's working back as this is his last week required to be on injured reserve. We'll see if how long it takes for him to get activated. And we get some fun Bills news and stats leading up to Week 4 as well. That in a moment. First, though, I'll tell you guys about our sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid, and it can win you up to 2,000 times your money. Watching your Buffalo Bills this football season, it's daily fantasy made easy. Just pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. Whether it's basketball, football, baseball playoffs are creeping up. I mean, you can mix and match all the favorite sports, and even including college football as well on Prize Picks. And it's so easy. All you guys have to do is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less. It's that easy. They always want to make it easy for you guys to win real money in real time when they offer sick deals like this. Free $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup, but you got to use our promo code CLNS. Don't have to win that lineup to receive the $50. Don't worry, it's guaranteed. My lineup for Week 4 is as follows. Dalton Kincaid, more than 37.5 receiving yards. Feed the hot hand. James Cook, more than half a rushing or receiving touchdown. It would set a Bills franchise record for consecutive games with the score. Spencer Rattler, more than 207.5 passing yards. It's going to be a lot of garbage time for the New Orleans Saints this week. Tell my picks or fade them. Just do it at Prize Picks. Download the app today and use the promo code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Alrighty, let's talk about this, man, because Maxwell Hairston is in a position where he is dealing with an injury that takes a lot of delicate recovery, delicate rehab, because there's a lot of re-aggravation risk, there's a lot of setback risk, but he is practicing, and it looks like he's doing a lot more work than we saw in Wednesday's practice. Shout out to Thigh Doctor here, breaking it down. So the brace is normal, extra stability as he starts on-field drills, only 8 weeks post-injury, so likely around 1 more month of it, and I'm not sure if that means like 1 more month until he's back or 1 more month until he's gets that brace off, so we'll see on that. There's no sirens going off on his mechanics, but assume his strength is still impaired, and there still is extra effort on that right knee. So we will see how he continues to progress here, but I will say this. It is really, really good to see him working up and ramping up the kind of production and the work that he's doing, the drills that he's doing at practice, just with each passing day. I mean, this is from day 1 to day 2, and it feels like there's a pretty big leap here. So that's awesome news, but the bad news is that he's already missed so much time as a rookie that I don't know how likely it is that Sean McDermott, not only puts him in the rotation, but elevates him to the top of the depth chart. Like, I don't think that that's super likely at this point. There's a chance that he won't start a single game this year, to be quite honest with you. I mean, with Thigh Doctor and, banged up Bills and all these different injury analysts kind of talking about how long this is going to take, like, there's a good chance the Bills don't even activate him after this game. Like, they're going to wait maybe potentially until the bye week to activate him and then really, really slowly get him worked back up. You have 21 days to be activated for game work, and that'll be that. Because if you activate him this week, then the first full week of practice that he's going to be leading up to a game will be the bye week, and that's just not really where you want to start that kind of process. So there's a non-zero chance that he doesn't play at all this year, but I definitely think there's a chance that he won't even start a game this season. Now, so we'll get to some Bills fun news and stats here that I was just kind of seeing as I did some research leading up to this game. The top wide receiver run block grades throughout this year so far, through 3 weeks. We got 2 Bills on this list. Rashad Bateman at 1, Tyler Lockett at 2, but Elijah Moore there at 76.6. And this is a minimum of 10 snaps. Like, this is enough work out there to be a qualified wide receiver. Olamide Zaccheaus, Jahan Johnson. Oh, yeah. And Tyrell Shavers, the big body that creates running lanes for our boy number 4, James Cook. Look, the reason I bring this stat up is because the Bills have an identity on the offensive side of the ball. They are going to bully you at the line of scrimmage. They are going to stack the line of scrimmage. They are going to run heavy packages at you because they don't give a shit. They're just going to out-muscle you. They're going to out-physical you at the line of scrimmage. How many times have the Bills trotted out a 12 personnel, a 13 personnel this season? Oh, yeah, 12 personnel, 13 personnel, and Tyrell Shavers is out there. I'd say this, the Bills' offense has been fairly predictable so far this season, and teams just haven't been able to stop it. Run, pass, doesn't matter. The Bills are beating you at the line of scrimmage, so they're beating you everywhere else. More on the wide receivers here, for Buffalo specifically. Separation yards per route run. Kind of interesting here, to be quite honest with you. For context, Keon Coleman in 2024 had a 2.0 yards per route run of separation. That ranked dead last in the National Football League. You see Coleman here with a big jump, 3.4 yards. Dalton Kincaid, 3.5 yards. Khalil Shakir, we know how shifty he can get, 4.1 yards. Josh Palmer, 2.3 yards. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, separation, route running, stopping on a dime and getting open. That's kind of what I thought Josh Palmer's calling card would be heading into his Bills career here. I would like to see more from him, honestly. A little disappointed given that you gave him $12 million this season, and you haven't really gotten too much production, really. I don't think he's had 50 yards in any of the games so far this year. I'm not saying he's got to be close to the century mark every single week, but got to be involved. I know it's the everybody eats approach. Like, whoever's open, whoever the play is designed for, that's where we're getting the ball. But, man, you pay a guy $12, $13 million a season, kind of want some production, I'll say that. One more cool stat here as well. as this is a Bills defense stat. The Bills defense might not be as bad as we actually think once again. Ian Hartitz threw this tweet out, said the top NFL defenses in havoc, which is the percentage of plays a defense gets, a pressure, TFL, forced fumble, interception, or pass breakup. So the Bills, they've allowed tons of yards on the ground. And honestly, they've allowed tons of points from both Miami and Baltimore. But they're active out there on the field, man. Look at number 9, the Bills at 41%. So a top 10 defense in the league when it comes to just going out there and making plays on the football. That wins games to me. Winning forcing giveaways, that type of stuff wins the game to me. So, yeah, all these teams get as many yards as they want. They can rush for as many yards per carry as they want. But at the end of the day, the Bills are making plays. Is that sustainable? No, but everything regresses to the mean eventually. And I think the Bills' defense will as well. The Bills are also one of 3 teams to not commit themselves a turnover this season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Indianapolis Colts are the other 2 teams. Combined record of 9-0 through the first 3 weeks. It is not rocket science, folks. If you win the turnover battle, you're going to win football games. Bills have done it in 25 straight. Josh Allen had this to say about why that is. He said, you have Joe Brady, you have James Cook, and you have our offensive line. Handing the ball off, letting James do his thing, the whole everybody eats mentality, has allowed me to be free, not worry so much about where the ball is going. Wonder who he's talking about there. Somebody probably formerly in the receiver room was worried about where the ball was going, no matter what the play looked like. It's no coincidence that things look different now on the offensive side of the football for the Buffalo Bills. A lot is being said, though, about Josh Allen now being a checkdown merchant. You know, the everybody eats approach is turning him into being a short pass thrower. He didn't have many passes over 10 air yards against the Miami Dolphins in Week 3. But guess what? Nobody should care because the Bills are super effective, and he's still a super effective passer. Take a look at this graph right here. This is a Josh Allen stat. And you know what? It's probably very, very tough to read. It's blurry in itself. But it's how quarterbacks perform in expected passing situations. So when teams know you're passing the football, how effective are you? Josh Allen's the best in the NFL by a wide margin. There's a gap between he and Lamar Jackson. Its expecting passing situation is when expected pass probability is greater than 70%, minimum of 25 dropbacks. His EPA per play is over 0.6. So this guy just knows how to play ball. Doesn't matter what the defense is showing or what the defense is knowing for that matter. He's just going to go out there and tear you up. With that being said, who do you got for Week 4? Get the Buffaloes down in the comment section right now. Give me your BUFs down below. And if you're a Saints fan watching this video, trying to get a scouting report, type those NOs down below if you're in my comment section as well. As that will do it for today's edition of the Bills Breakdown. Give me a follow over on Twitter. I'll be tweeting out the highlights from the game on Sunday as well. So give me a follow over there. We'll be chopping it up about the game during the game. And subscribe to the channel as well. We'll be live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday for a Bills Saints watch party. We'll see you guys then. And as always, let's go Buffalo.